It's one of those days, Seb Gorka, where, you mentioned going back to your own childhood. I woke up to the news, as so many people did this morning, and actually I was thrown back to thoughts of my own childhood. I'm part of that generation, I suppose, in the 1970s who still sort of felt they grew up under the shadow of the atomic cloud and having nightmares about having 4 minutes to get under the stairs and all the rest of it, protect and survive, nuclear holocaust. Yes. The Cold War felt very real, and it feels like it's restarting today.
Yeah, look, I think we're about the same age. I'm a child of the Cold War. I grew up under Maggie Thatcher's Britain, one of the greatest leaders of the modern age. But I'm also the child of refugees who escaped communist Hungary in the revolution of 1956, a tiny nation of 10 million people who saw the Soviet tanks roll in to crush that free nation, which resulted in, and let's just be clear here, Colin, the ramifications for the whole world. Just Hungary in 10 days, when that revolution was crushed in 1956, saw the refugee wave of more than 200 million people fleeing to the West. Two of them, my parents, who ended up in West London. This is now the Ukraine, a much, much larger nation on the borders of NATO. So the ramifications in terms of oil prices, refugee influx, and other countries as well. One last thing, if you'll allow me. Putin gave this verbal diarrhea faux history lecture 2 days ago to prep the battlefield, where he said, well, Ukraine has never been an independent country. It's part of Russia. Colin, he's done the same thing with the Baltic states. He said the same thing about Poland. So lest we think this is just a storm in a teacup and one country and he's over it. No, this is the former KGB colonel who has gone on record more than once to say the greatest geopolitical tragedy of the last century was the loss of the Soviet Union, and that is what he dreams of recreating.